No, obviously, we know what has happened. Some people do not support it, some support it. The truth is you might disagree. But let's look at what the Constitution says. There's a right to peaceful protest. We can't deny that. You have a right to be able to amplify your views. This current government protested a lot, not only the 2012 protest, up to when they were elected, and everything was a protest. In fact, we all remember that the former president did even threaten fire and brimstone. Let's not forget the narrative and the rhetoric. People protested. They protested in front of INEC, they protested everywhere. When things are hard, how do people get their voices heard? They go on the streets. It is the duty of the government to make it peaceful. All of this rhetoric that it will be hijacked and everything, if it is hijacked, it is the failing of the government. Because let's go back to the Constitution again. Section 14, subsection 2. The protection of the citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the sole responsibility of the government. So please, government, for those that might be interested in protest, nothing must happen to them. It's not by asking for name and details and routes of what is it called. No. I don't feel the police should ask for that. Because also, based on the Supreme Court ruling, in the Buhari case, when Buhari went protesting there and he was harassed by the police, it was stated that you don't need to tell the police before you protest or get a permission from the police. Anywhere you see protest routes, ensure their safety and security. Pure and simple, let's not deceive ourselves. Those that are not interested in protest can stay out of it. But please do not disrupt those that want to protest. And we must not hear hoodlums are going to attack people. Because also Mr. Femi Falana made some very strong claims as regards how the hoodlums came out, how they went to first attack the youth in Alausa area. And they came out of cars belonging to people in authority. In fact, they were known political talks. Till today, nothing was done as regards that. So let's be realistic. People have a right to protest. People have a right to ventilate. Just like this government, when they were in opposition, they protested a lot. And a lot of Nigerians supported them. Your things are so tough. Daily Trust was reporting yesterday that 100 tubers of yam is 1 million naira. You're in this country. 100 tubers of yam, 1 million naira. Yam that we used to say is easy to provide in this country. Till today, yam has now become a luxury. They keep relating it to Kenya. We make a lot of false equivalents. What happened in Kenya is different. There had been a build-up. Late last year and into early this year, there had been the Odiga-led riots and protests in Kenya. Things were already heated up in Kenya. And the president did not manage it properly. President Tinubu, as an ex-member of the club of protesters, we expect that you will give protesters a chance. Let me read your words to you in 2013. Do not attack the protesting youths. They are protesting for their future. I didn't say that. You said that, President Tinubu. Let your words ring true again.
All right. Okay, very quickly, what is established is as follows. Number one, that Nigerian youths, Nigerian stakeholders want to protest. And they have insisted that they have the right to protest. The constitutionality of that right to protest is covered under Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution, also under Section 40 of the Constitution. Section 39 talks about freedom of expression. You are free to express yourselves. Section 40 talks about the right of free association and assembly. So those are the two relevant parts of the Constitution in Nigeria. But the government is saying that those two rights, to the extent that no rights are absolute, do not grant you the freedom also to sabotage the state. What the state is complaining about is the possible hijack, the resort to violence or mayhem or chaos by the persons who want to protest. The number two issue that I see here is that the government is saying that the protest as proposed is leaderless. And I say, well, that's not exactly a correct position to take, because there are persons that have come forward, like the Take It Back movement, like the group that has approached Nyesom Wike, Minister of the FCT, that they would like to use the Eagle Square. He says he has not received any letter from them. So there are certain persons who have come forward. There's also Mr. Peter Obi, who has said, look, you can protest. They'll be peaceful about it. Do it within the ambit of the law. That's what Mr. Peter Obi is talking about. And then, of course, the third leg of it is that government is saying very clearly to people that through the Nigeria police, that you have to come and register, come and tell us your movement, the leaders of your movement. Well, with due respect, I don't think that, that's what the law says. The Inspector General of Police, IGP, Kade Gbetokun, and also some of the commands have been saying people should come and register. Now, the Nigerian government can hide under the Public Order Act, Chapter 352 of the Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, LFN. But you see, it's a subsidiary legislation. It does not override the Constitution. The Constitution says you can protest. The Constitution says you cannot impose violence. That much is very clear. The police saying that people who want to protest should come and register. No, I think that's beyond the pale of what the law says. Number 4, governors, former presidential candidates, concerned persons, Bishop Joanna of Niger State, traditional rulers, they have all called for calm. There's a consensus of opinion that, look, people should conduct themselves after the fashion of a gentleman. Bishop Joanna quoted Romans 13, verses 1 to 3. What Romans 13, verses 1 to 3 says is that you have to respect constituted authority. Many Nigerians will remember Governor Ajimobi, now of a blessed memory, who talked about respecting constituted authority. But the Nigerians who say they want to protest, they are not saying they don't respect constituted authority. They are not quoting Romans chapter 13 like the bishop. They are saying they are hungry. And that's another dimension to the narrative. They want the Nigerian government to address the hunger in the land. President Tinubu himself has said, well, he understands what they are saying. He's addressing the problem. But I keep making the point that the average Nigerian is a victim of rising expectations. People are hungry. When you are hungry, you are angry. Yorubas have a saying for it, that you can't be hungry and somebody is preaching to you. A hungry stomach does not understand the language of the pulpit. So this is where we have found ourselves 3 days to the day. The security agencies are all in unison in saying that they have a responsibility to protect the state, and they do have a responsibility to protect the state. I have not heard anybody saying that when they go out onto the streets, if they will, that they are going there to destroy infrastructure. They must know that if you introduce violence into the equation, we will not come here and defend you. The Nigerian government has made it clear. If you destroy, we they beat you. And if they begin to beat, nobody should think, if you are guilty of a felony, you are guilty of a felony. You can protest, very fine. The government says it's listening. The governors, the traditional rulers, they say they are calling for calm. But this is a country. There are many variations, there are many tendencies, but the citizen has a right. But the citizen also has a duty, also has a responsibility. And that responsibility does not include destroying public infrastructure. I rest my case.
All right, absolutely. All right, let me just say that, of course, there's a big difference between protests, peaceful protests, and riots. And it seems like a number of people who are speaking against the peaceful protest are almost giving it the nature of a riot. A riot is violent in nature. A riot is a violent way of showcasing, displeasure or angst at certain points. But this is a peaceful protest, and has been highlighted a number of times, is a guaranteed right of the Nigerians by the Constitution. Now, different perspectives, different sides of the story, but the truth is that what we've said consistently is that the onus is on security agencies to ensure that protests, peaceful protests as guaranteed by the Constitution for Nigerians, must not and should not be hijacked by providing security for those who want to protest. A number of issues have been put on ground, and I've said it repeatedly on the show that it's important that this administration, especially the president, be seen to be responding to the cries of the people. Yes, they might come out to say that, but the president is working, he has done A, B, C, X, Y, Z, but obviously, because the people are still saying they want to go out to protest, it is not anywhere near enough. We've analyzed the number of times the impact or lack of some of the interventions made so far. We've analyzed the impact of sending 20 trucks of rice to different states, and how the sheer number of people who are in need of this food will not get it because of the insufficiency and unfortunate bad management. I've also talked about the responsibility of governments, especially subnationals, and said that beyond the president, when we look at the impact on the people, there are interventions that governors can make. And this was echoed in a very interesting manner at the convocation ceremony at Babcock University, where the governor of Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun, was speaking as a guest. And he was talking about how, this protest was sponsored by frustrated politicians who didn't win and discouraging the students. And then one of the graduating students, had come out to say that actually, since the governors were present, 2 governors were present, it was important to highlight the fact that they were also responsible and accountable in terms of responding to the people, and that they must be seen as public servants. Mark the word, underline, bold, italic, servants. And so when people vote you in, you are there to serve the people and not to lord it over the people. And so what are people asking for? Good governance. And that's why the theme for this protest is end bad governance. The government must be seen, rather than spending so much money and energy on trying to discredit or continue to highlight the fact that they can get violence, why don't you spend that same energy and money to respond to the people and ensure that you're able to show and demonstrate, especially the young people who are saying that they are not happy with the current state of things, that you're serious and you're ready to do business. We've consistently called on a dialogue, a representation, even if it's just for the optics, at least demonstrates that you are listening, and listening by responding with demonstrations. Institute a committee of critical stakeholders, the young people who want to have their voices heard. This matter very largely is a case for, can you listen to us? Can you demonstrate that you're listening to us? The policies that you have introduced are painful on the people. Show us by working what's the long-term plan for the people, what the plan is. By this month, we're going to do this. It's going to be tough, but later on, you begin to see the results. And then when you give us the timelines, obey those timelines. We've talked about here on this same table how timelines they haven't worked. And no explanation, nothing at all, just promises upon promises, and people are now getting frustrated. That's my stance on this. And then I must state categorically, let us not rewrite history. A number of rhetorics have been trying to push or promote the fact that, oh, look at ENSA.